So before we left, before we had to leave school, my English class was working on their Unit 3 project. So for the project, students are researching an urban legend. So as I always do, I chunked the project. So first, it was a project overview and overview of the topics. So the students, I narrowed down the topics for students just to focus on 3, and they could pick whatever 3 that they wanted to do. I have the guidelines here that they had to have 2 sources, that they have to make sure they do their cards test for it, and that they didn't have to turn in their sources to me. I just looked them over with their cards evaluation. And basically with the project, they are researching the urban legend and picking a claim, arguing a claim that they want to support. So is the Loch Ness Monster real or is it fake? What happened to the city of Atlantis? Was it real? Did it actually occur, or is it just a myth? And the causes for the disappearance of the Bermuda Triangle, are there supernatural causes or are there like scientific causes for it? So we did that, and then like for each of the topics, there's like a graphic organizer chart on this paper. So what is the Loch Ness Monster? Arguments for both sides of the Loch Ness Monster. The city of Atlantis. What are some theories about the city of Atlantis? And then what is the Bermuda Triangle? Theories about the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. And then they would go, actually we did this as a class. I have these 3 brief videos about each of the urban legends. So they're about maybe 3 minutes a piece. So we watched them together as a class, and I will pause it so that way they could write down their information to put in the boxes on the paper. So we did that, and on the back of the yellow paper is just how their essay should be organized and what needs to go in each paragraph, and that they need to make sure that they have a bibliography and make sure they have their in-text citations. From there, students looked up sources because we also focused on evaluating websites this quarter in this unit, and the students received lessons on how to evaluate websites and had practice using this evaluation checklist of what they need when they are identifying a reliable source to use. So they know they have to do the name of the article, the URL, and put their topic down, and they need to have more yeses than nos, and then they would show it to me or the instructional assistant, so that way we could initial their sheet, and then the back was for their second source, so they did the exact same thing. Then from there, we have our notes pages. So this basically helps students organize their notes. So they put their name, their claim that they're making, and then what are the 3 reasons why they support that claim. And then they have their evidence 1 with the citation, evidence 2 with citation. I make them put their citation on their notes page because if I don't, they will forget to add it when they transfer the information from their notes pages to their graphic organizers for the essay. So you have it for supporting argument number 1. You have it for supporting argument number 2, supporting argument number 3, their counter argument, and their evidence for it. And then is room for them to write out their bibliography. Now even though they only need 2 sources, just in case a student may need to get a 3rd source, I just put the room for it there. Now, school closed while students had just completed this or was working on it. So I also converted the notes pages into a Google Doc so that my students who have writing issues could just type it, and then they could just save it on the computer. So it goes in the same order that I showed you on paper. So yeah, so that was for that. All right, then from there, students went into their graphic organizers for their essay, and I always color code the pages just so that students don't get the different body paragraphs confused. So some feedback I got from students from a previous project from Unit 2, before I would put introduction at the top and conclusion at the bottom, and they would get confused. Even though they know conclusion goes last, they wanted it to be on its own separate paper, so that way when it's stapled together, they just go in order of their papers. So they're not doing 2 introductions, it's just I always put 2 just in case they mess up. They can just put an X where they messed up and then start fresh. So this is for the introduction, which is the first paragraph, and then the green sheet is for their supporting argument number 1, body paragraph number 1. And what I did different this year is I numbered the parts how they have to type them. I remind them that this whole page is a paragraph, and you type your supporting argument first, then the evidence, then the explanation of the evidence, then your evidence 2, then your explanation, and then connect it back to the claim. So I made sure I put the numbers there so that they would know the order and how they needed to type their information. So this is body paragraph 1. The yellow page is for supporting argument number 2, which is body paragraph number 2. And the pink paper is for body paragraph, body paragraph number 3, which focuses on their counterclaim, their counter argument, and then their supporting argument number 3, which disputes their counterclaim and counter argument. And then the last page, which is purple, is the conclusion. Okay. I also have the graphic organizers for the project as well on Google Doc for students. So everything is here, just like on the paper. And then I give them just a reminder what to put in, connect the argument back to the claim. So all of that is here for them to do. Same thing, students that have handwriting issues or students who were absent from school, they can still access the graphic organizers online. To their rough draft. So here is the rough draft, and then I have directions on how to type the rough draft, how they need to do it. After the rough draft, they leave it in a rough draft, and then they will, and then I have their revision and editing list here. So this is just a reminder on what they have to do to revise and edit their writing. They don't have to print this out at all. This is just a resource for them. And also, if they forgot how to do citations, I have their interactive notebook up here on in-text citations, just in case they forgot how to cite the source. And an in-text citation, that's there. If anybody left a bibliography packet at school or they can't find it, here is the bibliography packet. Again, they do not have to print this out. This is just a resource for them. And so it tells them by page where to go. If you're trying to do a bibliography for a book, or if you're trying to do it for an internet source or online video, it tells you the page number you go to. And then it just gives them step-by-step directions on how to do it. So mostly, the students are doing internet sources. So here it is right here, internet source, and it goes step by step. So that is there, and then students will then copy the information from the rough draft and then paste it, open up their final draft, paste it in there, make any other last minute corrections in there, and then they will turn it in. They don't need to print out anything, they could just turn it in.